Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobby Capucci, and we have some breaking news. Today, we learned on a Fox and Friend interview that Dr. Michael Baden believes that Jeffrey Epstein's autopsy is more consistent with homicidal strangulation than suicide. Let's just jump right into the article and see what he says, right? The body of disgraced money man and sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, who was found dead in his Manhattan federal prison cell in August, bore telltale signs of homicide despite an official ruling that he killed himself, a pioneering forensic pathologist revealed to Fox and Friends in an exclusive interview Wednesday. The bombshell claim by Dr. Michael Baden, a former New York City medical examiner who has worked on high-profile cases during a 5-decade medical career, is certain to reignite suspicions that surfaced immediately after Epstein, who was awaiting trial on federal sex trafficking charges involving underage girls, was discovered dead in his cell on August 10th. Baden, who was hired by Epstein's brother and observed the autopsy, told Fox News its findings are more consistent with homicidal strangulation than suicidal hanging. He noted that the 66-year-old Epstein had 2 fractures on the left and right sides of his larynx, specifically the thyroid cartilage or Adam's apple, as well as 1 fracture on the left hyoid bone above the Adam's apple, Baden told Fox News. All right, so a couple of questions. We're going to stop right there. A few questions. 1, why today? 2, how is this news just getting out now? And 3, what is the purpose of this news getting out right now? Those 3 fractures are extremely unusual in suicidal hangings and could occur much more commonly in homicidal strangulation, Baden, who is also a Fox News contributor, said. While there's not enough information to be conclusive yet, the 3 fractures were rare, said Baden, who's probed cases involving O.J. Simpson, President John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, record producer Phil Spector, New England Patriots star Aaron Hernandez, and many others. I've not seen in my 50 years where that occurred in a suicidal hanging case, the 85-year-old medical legend told Fox News. Let me read that again, okay? I've not seen in 50 years where that occurred in a suicidal hanging case, the 85-year-old medical legend told Fox News. Now remember, this is him saying that, not me. I'm not a doctor. I just have some opinions like the rest of you guys, but this is him saying it, not me. Baden, who's examined more than 20,000 bodies and hosted HBO's Autopsy, explained that if a person weighed 120 pounds and their head weighed 10 pounds, there would be 110 pounds of pressure on the neck at the jaw during a hanging. But if someone put a hand around a person's neck and squeezed, that could double or even triple the pressure on the neck, Baden said. There were also hemorrhages in Epstein's eyes that were common in homicidal strangulation and uncommon, though not unheard of, in suicidal hangings, the forensic pathologist said. Okay, so, all of you out there who have questions still, who have been questioning the official narrative and what they have told us, well, you're not crazy. This Dr. Baden, one of the most respected doctors in his field, is saying that questions still need to be asked. The answers aren't all in. It is much more similar to a strangulation by homicide than strangulation by suicide. The prominent hemorrhage in the soft tissues of the neck next to the fractures is evidence of a fresh neck compression that could have caused the death, Baden said. Baden stressed his independent study was not complete. The investigation is not completed until all the information has come in, he said. 100% agree with that. Like I've always said here, we don't have all the information about this man's suicide or death. We have just what they've given us, and it's been just a little. So when a respected medical professional who has investigated this exact crime, who has examined the body, comes out and says this, well, it's more information than we're getting from the official narrative from the Department of Justice and from the Corrections Department. Oh, he hung, that's it. No evidence, nothing to back it up. Just, we're telling you, so you guys listen, because that's what we do. We tell you, you listen. That's how it works. Not anymore. We want answers. And this just, like it says, it's just going to push forward the theory and the narrative that Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself. Epstein was found hanging in his prison cell at the high-security Metropolitan Correctional Center in Manhattan and was later declared dead, investigators said. Prosecutors alleged that the previously convicted sex offender paid girls as young as 14 hundreds of dollars for massages before he molested them in his homes in New York and Palm Beach, Florida between 2002 and 2005. He was awaiting trial in federal prison, thus federal agencies, presumably the FBI and Justice Department, had jurisdiction over the investigation into his death, Baden explained. Boy, that really comforts me, huh? Because we all know that the FBI really does their job. They're really thorough. Check out the job they did in Las Vegas. They really gave us a whole bunch of answers, huh? How about 9/11? Do we get a bunch of answers there? We got a redacted 27-page report about Saudi Arabia 18 years after the fact. I mean, come on. Really? Do these guys really think we're buying their nonsense? They're about as trustworthy as a scorpion on your leg. You just can't. These people, they have no credibility. He said it was unknown to him and the Epstein family what work the feds may have done and what results they might have. The ligature, or item used to tie something tightly, allegedly was made from a sheet that had been twisted and put around Epstein's neck, Baden said. Evidence of the cloth material could help prove whether or not someone else was involved in Epstein's death. Yeah, that's all. If you have the evidence that it was an actual suicide, put it on the table. The people deserve to know. You've already hidden too much in this case. Whoever it is would have their DNA all over the ligature, he said. We don't have those results yet, he added, saying those results should be reported quickly to give an idea and lessen the speculation. New York City medical examiner Barbara Sampson ruled Epstein's cause of death to be a suicide by hanging. She came out right away. She made the ruling. This is such a high-profile case. She was probably under a lot of pressure from a lot of people. Did she make a mistake? Did she rush her work? I think a second opinion's warranted here. It appears that this could have been a mistake, Baden said. There's evidence here of homicide that should be investigated to see if it is or isn't homicide. Epstein previously was discovered on July 23rd, over 2 weeks before his death, on the floor of his prison cell with marks around his neck, after which he was placed on suicide watch. All right, well, that's all we're asking for, right? We're just asking for the questions to be asked and the answers to be given. I'm not speculating one way or the other. I'm not jumping to conclusions here with this man's death. But I think that when you have all the coincidence leading up to what has occurred, I think that it's pretty commonplace for people to have questions. And obviously it's not just us. Obviously a lot of people have questions. The problem is nobody has answers for us. Now Dr. Michael Baden has a couple of answers for us, and, well, let us see what's what. He was taken off suicide watch a week later and put in another cell with a roommate, Baden said, but the second inmate was taken out a few days after that, leaving Epstein alone in the cell. On the day Epstein was found dead, the prison security had experienced a total breakdown in procedure, according to Baden. It was determined that the two guards who were supposed to be working in that area of the prison had allegedly fallen asleep and hadn't made their 30-minute rounds for more than 3 hours. All right, what is this, some dystopian movie? They both fell asleep? They're not smart enough to say, hey, look, dude, you get an hour, I'll get an hour, blah, blah, blah. They just both went to sleep. Who are these guards? They've been fired? I know they were put on leave, but where are the follow-up stories with this? They fire these stories out there, and then there's no follow-ups to any of it. Then there were security cameras that were supposed to be recording the cell and the hallway outside to see who went in and out. Both! Listen to me clearly. Both had malfunctioned according to Baden. Now listen to me. Both. One I could write off as old government crap. I get it. Both of them malfunctioned at the same exact time. Just at the same exact time this man was committing suicide, supposedly. Come on. Nobody's buying it. We need evidence of all of this. Evidence. Don't you guys know what that means at the Justice Department? I don't understand what you guys are doing. It's such a kangaroo court. You think you run the whole world, but you don't. You need to be responsible for what you do. Mark Epstein, Jeffrey's next of kin, had hired Baden to perform an independent investigation because the family wasn't getting answers, and if his brother's death was, in fact, a homicide, he and others may be at risk, Baden said, because of somebody not wanting knowledge given out. Though through his 5 decades of experience, Epstein's death is not straightforward, Baden said. It doesn't give you the answer. It's not a typical hanging case. Well, there's that. All right? So what we have is Dr. Michael Baden saying that this case is not your typical hanging case. It resembles a strangulation case, a homicide strangulation case, not a suicide case. So I'm just bringing you the information from the experts. All right? I'm the conduit of that information. And we all know that the official story stinks to high heaven. Whether he murdered himself, whether he killed himself or he was killed, that's still up in the air. We don't have those answers. We could all speculate because that's what we do, right? Unless we're given answers, we speculate. So I'll leave it up to you guys to think what you think about this man committing suicide, but shoot us some emails, give us some comments, and let us know what you think. I will be back tonight with our regular daily drop. Hopefully there's a follow-up on this case. If not, we'll move on to the next bit of news, and then we'll keep an eye on this and see where it goes. All right, everybody, I hope you have a great afternoon.